Welcome to Mafia Family Ties. I'm honored to have Kenny Johnson, the one and only Pinto Ron, joining me today. Thank you for coming in,
it's
taking the time. Let's just jump into it, and maybe you can tell me a little bit about who Pinto Ron is before we get into Kenny Johnson. Let's go into Pinto Ron.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm popularly known as Pinto Ron. That name came about because of an article where some guy got my name wrong, and the people at my tailgate party wouldn't let it go. I actually kind of fought it for 7 years because it was confusing everyone. Kenny, Ken, Ron, what's going on right here? But after about 7 years, I had to just give up and accept it. And, well, that was 20 years ago. So now you can call me Ron, you can call me Kenny, you can call me Pinto Ron. I'm good with it.
Do a lot of people call you Ron, like at the tailgates and everything? They'll say, hey, Ron.
I can usually tell if I know the person or not by what they call me. At my tailgate party, people who know me fairly well or come frequently or whatever, they call me Kenny. People who just came in from out of town or people I'm meeting out of town I've never really met, they call me Ron or Pinto Ron. So that's how I know if I know somebody or not, because I meet so many people that one of the hardest things I have to do is when I see somebody again and they start talking to me, I got to try to remember, do I know this guy from the past? I can't say anything. I have to continue to talk neutral to these guys until I determine whether I actually know them or not. And Pinto Ron versus Kenny is a big clue to me.
So Kenny, who is Kenny Johnson? Tell me a little bit, as much as you want to share about who you are, in the real world.
Oh, in the real world, I was a software developer for 40 or 45 years. So, yeah, I was a pencil neck geek and a big sports fan, obviously. And so, yeah, the Pinto Ron thing is kind of like an alter ego for my real personality because I should be just a bookworm, a geek. I got the wrong job for what I do.
So what kind of computer programming, if we could geek out for a second, what kind of computer programming did you specialize in? What was your forte?
I went down the Microsoft path, so it was C, C#, the basic Microsoft technologies. And my specialty over the last 40 or 45 years was digital image processing. I was one of the first people to work on that stuff. They call it AI now, so now I find out I've been working on AI for 40 years. But back then, we just called it software development.
It's wild. Okay, so going back to Pinto Ron or the tailgates and everything. So you're famously known for the ketchup and mustard routine that you do every single Sunday, Monday, whatever, home game. How did that begin?
Well, we were always up to shenanigans when we first started the tailgate party, back in the late 80s, actually, that far back. I was a young person, Look what 40 years of tailgating does to you. So one of the shenanigans that we kind of had is every time I wanted ketchup for my burger, I used to hold my arm way out, and somebody would try to shoot it, a few feet and try to hit the burger. And the idea was to ricochet it off the burger, getting the perfect amount on the burger and nothing on me. So the years start to go by, and we started shooting it from the top of the Pinto at the time, still holding the arm out. Then it started to become a little bit about height and distance, and then lots of height and lots of distance, and so it was starting to get a little bit messy. It was manageable back until the late 90s, early 2000s, but then it started to become unmanageable because the guys that were shooting at me actually would start to shake it because they knew everyone would laugh if they got something on me. So I had to develop a cleanup routine. I did that in about 2002, and once I developed that cleanup routine, which I do right at the tailgate, right in front of everybody, even though nobody seems to see it, once I developed that cleanup routine, it suddenly hit me that it doesn't matter what you get on me, it takes exactly the same amount of time to clean up. So go have at it.
That's funny. So that's almost the computer programmer in you, figuring out the math
right.
and everything. That's funny. So the Pinto itself, so much attention has been given to the ketchup and mustard as of late, as I see it. But for a long time, for me, it was always just, I heard about the Pinto.
The car cooking.
The
cooking
car
on
cooking,
the car,
yeah.
right.
So explain a little bit about where that idea came from to cook on the car, and maybe just a little bit of history behind that specific vehicle.
Well, that was my family car, actually. I bought it in '86 for only $300, so I've definitely got my money out of it. It was 6 years old at the time. And again, like I said, we were always up to shenanigans and stuff, so it was a nice-looking car. And I had the idea of having the perfect bacon double cheeseburger. So what I did was I brought a wooden grill, literally 2x4s, plywood underneath, no legs on it. We just put it on the ground, and I figured the best way to cook a great burger is to have the entire grill on fire. So I'm cooking it, but the problem was, engineering-wise, that I had to keep bending over to, and then, you bend over and it's on the ground, and the next thing you know, my beard's burning off. So what I did was I took the whole contraption and put it on the hood of the Pinto. I figured it would be okay. I didn't think the wood would burn through. but the plywood actually burned through and left this little tiny spot on the car. It was kind of ticked me off, to tell you the truth. But I still wasn't going to get beat, so I did the same thing next week, except I used like 3 sheets of plywood, figuring this isn't going to burn through, and I had it on the hood of the car, but it still burned through. So I looked at it. It was kind of halfway through the season. I said, when spring comes around, I'm going to have to buff the hood out and repaint it. So as long as I got to buff the hood out and repaint it, I put a grill right on that burnt spot. To me, it didn't matter if the burn spot got worse because the buffing process would take the same. And spring came by and I kind of never buffed it out and did it. And the next year I put 2 grills up there because I needed the bacon on one grill and the burger on another grill. And then it just sprang forth over 30 or 35 years to what you see today.
It's wild. What a story. Yeah, so you're originally upset over it.
Oh, yeah. I didn't like that little burn spot on the car. I didn't intend for that to happen.
Yeah, but it's grown a little bit now, that spot.
Yeah. But when I see a problem, because that was a problem, I don't try to fix it. I try to exploit it, I guess.
So I remember I actually had the opportunity, I think when I first met you, was at like a preseason game tailgate. Peter King came by. He interviewed you and everything. And there was a story about potato chips in the back of the car from the comeback game. Is that still a thing?
Oh, they're still there.
They're still there?
Yeah. It was a potato chip bag we were half done with, at the comeback game. Well, I call them rally chips. And for years and years after that, we had a ritual, one of our shenanigans and stuff. We had a ritual before the games. We'd all take we'd all take 1 potato chip from the rally chips before we went to the game. Well, a couple of years later, the bag is, getting depleted. So now we're taking little tiny pieces and stuff. And it started to taste like cardboard and it was kind of getting moldy and, it kind of tasted gross. So, chug a whiskey after you had it. But no, that potato chip bag is still back there, but I don't have a little tiny piece because there's not too many little tiny pieces left. So now it's just there, as I call it, a relic in the back of my car.
I like that. The car is its own little museum in a way.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I got milk from 1992 in there. It's Scotty's milk. Scotty's the guy who parks right next to me, and he left his milk in my car. I keep trying to give it back to him. He still parks next to me 30 years later, but he won't take it back, so I just keep leaving it in there.
Sounds like a science project.
Yeah. After that milk's been in there since 92. It really smelled bad. What we used to do is take a little tiny chug of that milk before every game. But after 2 years, it got too rancid. The idea was that, how long can you hold it before you dry heaved?
Oh, my goodness.
But after 20 years, all of a sudden it stopped smelling. I guess that after 20 years, every organic material inside there must have died off because it doesn't smell anymore. It used to be if I took the top off, you could smell it 10 cars away.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I did not know about the milk, so thanks for sharing that. All right, so switching gears a little bit. Lifelong Bills fan. Mm-hmm. What is being a Bills fan, a member of Bills Mafia, what does that mean to you, like, personally?
Well, the Bills Mafia is like a family. Most of my friends are from football. I don't have too many, in Rochester where I live, I don't have too many friends that I visit. I know people from all over the country. I know people, at the tailgate, and they're all Mafia. And without the Mafia, I'd probably be just sitting at home all day watching Dancing with the Stars reruns.
Are you a fan of Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah, I am, unfortunately. It's another one of those things that doesn't go along with my Pinto Ron personality.
I love it. That's great. There's a lot of layers to this. I like it. You've been a fan for decades. Mm-hmm. How do you kind of keep that energy going? What continues to like drive your passion for the Bills?
That drive for the Super Bowl. We got to get it. Just one before I die. I've been hearing that expression a lot lately.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. So, all right. And then we talked about the tailgate, the stadium. How does the tailgate experience translating into the stadium experience that day? How would you describe that? How would you kind of like? You
mean the tailgate versus the game?
Yeah. Or even the tailgate versus the game.
Actually, a lot of people ask me this question, and I always say they're totally two independent events. We have a blast for hours and hours before the game. With the Mafia family, it's just like a family reunion out there. The last great American party, I guess. The Commissioner Tailgating used to say that. But the game is completely independent. In my own mind, I separate the two. I know a lot of people don't, but I do.
I like that, two separate events. So, all right, so you're known for going to a lot of games.
Well, only for the last 30 years.
Only the last 30 years?
A few. Yeah.
What was the last game that you missed?
The last game I didn't go into, carefully wording that, was the fourth Bills Super Bowl because I had $900 cash in me. You see, I didn't have www, give me a ticket.com back then, so I had $900 cash. The last two Super Bowls only took $300 each to get in, so I thought I had 3 times as much as I needed. But the scalper tickets for that game unexpectedly were going at about $12.50. Mostly because some travel agencies from Buffalo overbooked like 2,000 people and they were panicking. They didn't have tickets. So they put out the word, anyone that goes to a particular hotel room, they'll give you $12.50 for the ticket. So no scalper was going to sell it for less than that. So I didn't actually make it into that game. But that wouldn't have extended my streak too long at all. I think I only went to 5 out of 8 road games that year.
Well, only 5. What was the first road game you went to?
The first road game I went to, I think it was 88, maybe 89. It was a Jets game in the Meadowlands.
Bills probably won that game?
Yeah, we did. We clobbered them. It was 30-something, some small number. I don't remember the exact score.
Was that a Sunday game, a Monday night game?
It was Monday Night Football.
I remember that game. I think it was 30-7, and Thurman Thomas had an amazing game that game. That's cool. That's awesome.
That's where I learned to remember where your car is. Back then, they didn't have buildings all over the place. It was just a round stadium with 3 levels of circular parking. So I remember leaving the game all excited because we won the game. It's midnight, and I had no clue where I had the car. I literally had to sit there and circle around for like 2 hours until all the cars were gone, except my rent-a-car, which I didn't even remember what it was.
Oh my gosh. They didn't have key fobs back then either.
No.
You just go beep, beep.
No, things have changed a lot since I started this.
Yeah. That's probably, we could probably get into a whole conversation just about that, like how different it was in 88 compared to, 2024. All right, so switching gears a little bit. Favorite Bills player?
Favorite Bills player of all time was Lou Picone. Okay. I was just a tough little guy when I was really getting into football back then.
Yeah, he was a...
Most people don't know that name.
Lou Picone? Yeah, he's a receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've actually had the opportunity to meet him. He's a great guy. Good singer. Okay. He'll sing the national anthem at events now and then and everything.
I bet you thought I was going to come out with a different name, huh?
No, I like it. Lou
okay.
Picone, yeah. That's what drew you to him, was just his
underdog.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't a starting receiver and he got thrust into the role one season. I think he had 33 passes or something like that, 33 catches. But yeah, he was just a tough he was like the original Steve Tasker, actually.
I love it. You've been to countless tailgates, or actually you probably could count the ones you have in a row, but is there a specific moment, non-ketchup, non-mustard moment that kind of sticks out to you that you remember? Like an iconic moment that you recall is from a tailgate?
No, actually not. There's too many of them, yeah.
All right. What about a game?
My favorite game, right. That was the AFC Championship game that led to our first Super Bowl. And the reason why that sticks out in my mind and that's my favorite game of all time is because I think at halftime we were winning 42-3. I think that was the score. There's an entire half of football left and you knew you were going to the Super Bowl. And back then you could kind of party in the stands. It wasn't sanitized like it is today. So people were running all over the place. It was just a giant party for an entire half that I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that's I wasn't at that game, but that's probably my favorite game experience or game memory as well too. The whole second half, just knowing you were going to the Super Bowl.
That's it. Knowing you were going to the Super Bowl, that just...
That's and so you didn't go to 25, but if I understand, you went to 26 and 27?
I was at the first 3. It was the fourth one I didn't make it in.
All right.
Right.
Awesome. Out of those 3 Super Bowls, do you have a specific memory that you recall out of those?
Well, the first Super Bowl... the kick, I just saw Norwood last week, by the way.
Yeah?
He was at my tailgate.
How's he doing?
He's doing fine.
Yeah?
Yeah. I came up with Jimmy's Old Town Tavern, a Bills backers group in Washington. The kick. You can't forget that kick. Now, everyone calls it wide right. I don't call it wide right. I call it wide left because I was sitting in the end zone, 6 rows to the top, and the damn thing was going that way,
Yeah.
And when he made that kick, I was convinced we'd won the Super Bowl because Norwood, he didn't have a big leg. And his balls always used to hook wildly to the left, or, this way. I don't know, forward, backward. He had a wicked hook. So as soon as the kick came over the Kent Hall's head, I saw it was hooking correctly. It was going that way. Even more important, I knew it was going to be long enough. So it was just like hook, 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 no hook. Because the laces were spun backwards. Frank Reich kept trying to take credit for that or the blame.
Yeah.
But I never did. In order to get the wicked hook, he has to connect with the laces with his foot to get the spin going right. Yeah. So that memory is still burnt into my brain right now. Wide left.
Yeah. It's burned into everybody's brain, and it's been analyzed to the point where we're talking about the laces. And I heard a theory about how some people think it was an Apache helicopter.
That's not a far-fetched theory. Those things were right above my head, But they were flying over. There were 3 of them, I think, circling the stadium. Not too high, because I was 6 rows at the top. But I couldn't feel the wind from the blades whenever they came over, just a noise. So I think that's a far-fetched theory. I mean, it sounds good because I was looking up and it was right there.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was just funny how all the stories have come out, about like why it could be this, could be that. Just like Thurman Thomas's helmet in 26. I think it was determined that it was Harry Connick Jr. that moved it. I think I saw
Somebody kicked it when they walked by, accidentally stumbled over it, and it rolled a little bit. And then a Bills trainer or somebody actually saw a helmet laying where it shouldn't be, so he picked it up and put it behind the bench. Thurman Thomas always used to keep that helmet on the 34-yard line. That's where he put it for the national anthem. So he ran to the 34-yard line to pick it up, and it was missing. Yeah.
Oh.
Do you know where that helmet ended up?
Where it ended up? No.
Yeah. It's interesting because you've probably seen that helmet 1,000 times until about 3 years ago when it got sold off. You know the Big Tree Inn?
Yeah.
Okay, their beer cooler where all the blue is, it was sitting on that. Thurman gave it to Donnie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, or Danny, yeah. And Danny had it up there until he sold it just before he sold the entire Big Tree Inn.
Oh, wow.
So I know you've seen that helmet 1,000 times because you go to the Big Tree Inn.
Wow, so many people have found the helmet and not known it. All right, so kind of like as we close this up, if you could describe what it means to be a Bills fan in one word, what would that be?
Oh, I hate these one-word things.
I know, it's the worst. You can give me a couple words. It's your answer. Do whatever you want with it.
I can't come up with anything.
Nothing? All right.
Sorry.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
Yeah.
In terms of the giving back that Bills Mafia has done over the years, is there a moment that sticks out to you that you remember most or you're most proud of?
Yeah, it was early on when that started. It was Cincinnati, Miami, where Cincinnati beat. We were in the luxury booth watching a game. I don't even remember what the game was, but Cincinnati unexpectedly won a game. And then the Bills Mafia, the next week, or that's actually kind of before there was a Bills Mafia, they donated a ton of money to Dalton's favorite charity, just a ton of money. And that started the whole thing, I think.
Yeah, that was probably...
And that still sticks out to me, yeah.
It was probably the first moment that really, like, people realized, what Bills Mafia was capable of or, known for. In terms of, okay, so you've been to a million games. How many games have you been to, at least in a row right now?
Well, notwithstanding the COVID restricted games, I think tomorrow or this weekend's game is going to be 494.
494. So we got 500.
It's getting closer. Yeah.
Right. So for someone who has been to 494 straight non-global pandemic games, what advice would you have for somebody who's coming to Orchard Park for the first time to see a game, whether the tailgate experience, the game experience, whatever you want to share? Like, you got a complete newbie coming to you asking you for advice. What do you tell
I would
them?
have to say make it a full day experience. Get there at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Don't just drive in at 10 o'clock thinking you're going to cook one burger and do the tailgating thing and go into the game. You have to be there early, even Saturday night. There's parties going out there Saturday night. Drive out there Saturday night and just walk around. Come early on Sunday, get the whole experience, the game, and be prepared to stay for an hour or two after the game.
Yeah, perfect advice. Perfect advice. Kenny Johnson, a.k.a. Pinto Ron, thank you so much for being a part of Mafia Family Ties. I appreciate the time, and go Bills.
The Bills, they make us want to drink.